We gotta talk because I just got this downpour. And when I get a downpour, I don't always have my camera with me because my thing is you can't slow down a downpour. You can't slow down a download and be like, wait, Spirit, let me get my camera. But I was able to pause it for a second. So some of us are getting hit in all different angles. Your family, your friends, even yourself. Okay, life is life and your friends are life and people are life and what's happening is the overload of, okay, where do I start? Okay, well, how do I heal this? How do I heal and push through, right? How do I deal with the situations and be the best version of me? How do I do it when I got it from my mother, my brother, my sister, my dad, whomever, right? How do I be big even though I was raised in an environment that made me feel fearful of self? Where do I go? How do I start? What does it look like to really experience the life that I know that I can have? We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I was raised in an environment where I got hit by all angles. My dad did not want my existence. My mom could not handle my personality, and my brother could not receive me in a way. Maybe he didn't receive my femininity. I don't know. We had our own things. And what I have learned is as we evolve, as we grow, we have to be mindful of the thoughts that we battle with, the energy of, I know I could be bigger. I know I want to be further, but why am I not there? What is really holding me back? Now on Instagram, anybody with a camera phone can tell you what it is, and you can believe that, right? That's why I'm careful with Instagram, because Instagram will have you thinking just because somebody tells you, well, this is what's happening, you can receive that and take that in as this is really what's happening. So when you get on Instagram, you do have to have a spiritual cloak of protection, because if you're not mindful enough, if you're not using the spirit of discernment, anybody will curse you by telling you lies because it's trending, right? You'll start to think, but maybe I do have issues with this. No, you don't. And you know you don't. It just sounded good and you took it. So I had to kind of take a second to release myself from Instagram and ask myself, what's happening? So as I was thinking about my dating experiences, I realized a lot of us, and this is true for a lot of us. This is not for everyone, but a lot of us, because I've spoken to people, so I got some information. A lot of us, when it comes to dating, the reason why we're dating, and it's like, why is it not working, is because we're dating from a place of manipulation. We're dating from a place of hurt. We're dating from a place of skewed information. What do I mean by that? If you were like me, you were raised by a single mother who was also dealing with her own energies of becoming a woman, becoming a mother, and dealing with who she is for herself. There is an eyelash in my eye. Come on now. And when you're raised by a person like that and there is no male figure, they teach you things of this. Be strong. You could do these things. You don't necessarily need a man. Now, granted, my mom was never the mother who said men are not important, they're not valuable. She let me know, have your ducks in order, right? Which is fine. But when you're not used to seeing your mother date, when you're not used to a man in the home, you miss out on how a woman and a man coexist. Right? When there is an argument, how do y'all deal with it, right? You miss out on the essential parts of what really sustains a relationship. So now that we're adults, we're dating, we run the first time somebody yells at us, or the first time somebody displays an energy that is unbecoming for us, instead of realizing, okay, this is a human experiencing different emotions. How do I want to deal? We have been so misguided and not to date Satan, where it's like we're letting go of people that are actually good people. They're just having a day. They're having a moment, right? And you have to use the spirit of discernment to identify what's a moment versus this is their character. And as a person who's been raised by an individual where it was only one person in the household, I never was able to see how a dispute could start and end in love. I never was able to see how communication could start and it could be beautiful and then it can end in wrath, but then it could still end in love, right? It could go up and down. I never saw how to date correctly because my mother never dated. And a lot of us women were raised in environments where we either had the mother who dated too much, so we always outside, or didn't date enough, so we just isolate. So when we come into the world and we're like, we want to date, first we have to ask, from what frame am I dating from? Right? Am I dating from a frame of this is what I saw, so I'm going to emulate that? Or am I dating from a place of I didn't see it, but I want to figure it out, right? Because it's a process. That's part one. Another part, I was thinking about success. Yeah, I know I did a video on getting off the struggle bus. But first I had to ask myself, what are my thoughts on the struggle bus? And for years I would say things like, I am afraid of success. I am afraid of making money. And then I realized that was a lie. It was a lie. And I realized it was a lie because as a personal trainer, I have prices. My prices was mirrored back to me in the beginning as too low. So I raised my prices. And then they were mirrored back to me as I'm expensive. So then I realized you're never gonna appease everyone. You know, you got to figure out what makes sense where you're not breaking them, but you're able to feed yourself. And sometimes they may not be your clients. But what I realized was I wasn't afraid of success. What I was afraid of when I trickled down the road of what that looks like was I was afraid of me. I was afraid of pushing myself to the grandiose stage that as a child I was told was too much. See, when you're raised in an environment where you're getting it from all angles, you start to become afraid of your bigness. You start to become terrified, literally terrified of how huge you could become because there weren't people in your close-knit circle, family or friends, that showed you or mirrored being big is a beautiful thing. Taking up space is amazing. You can have your opinions, right? I was raised by a mother who every time I told her that I checked someone for saying something smart to me or I had a debate with someone, she was cheering me on. She was like, that's my girl. Her favorite line is, they don't know you. They don't know you like I know you. But when she did something that offended me or when she did something that I didn't like, it stopped right there. I couldn't correct her. Couldn't say what I wanted to say to her. I couldn't say that hurt my feelings. I don't appreciate. Oh no, it stopped. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm limited. I can't even be as me as I need to be. So in life, I would be in environments where I would be big enough, keyword, I would just be big enough until I got some type of feedback. And then it was like, okay, well, I don't want to hurt you, right? I don't want to offend you. And what that made me realize is I was never afraid of success. Ain't nobody afraid of money. If you put a dollar bill on the table, it ain't gonna shoot you, hurt you, yell at you. It ain't gonna do nothing until you tell it to do something. Right? I realized that it was the fear of me being consistent, the fear of me being big, the fear of me taking up space, the fear of me maintaining, the fear of me being authentic, the fear of me not giving a hoot and not caring about it. Because if that was programmed in my essence as a child, if that was mirrored back to me, oh, I would take up space with no problem. And what happens is, as an adult, you have a choice, right? You can either continue to say, well, dang, I didn't get this, so I'm not going to look for it. I'm not going to build it. I'm not going to seek the energies that can help me get to where I need to be. Or you can say, you know what? I didn't get it, but I want it, and I'm going to do what I have to do to get it. And what I realize is a lot of us who have the fear of success, just like the fear of failure, it comes back to self, all of it. It's not even what we think it is. Like, what are you afraid of? What is so terrifying? And when we ask ourselves those questions, it's nothing but us. And when you have a fear of self, the byproduct is a fear of success. The byproduct is a fear of love. The byproduct is a fear of failure. Because in failure, when you have that fear of failure, you're saying, I don't have enough confidence in self to know that I could bounce from this. I could bounce back. I can learn. I can grow. When we have a fear of success, we're saying, I don't have enough self-confidence to realize that I can maintain this type of income, that I can attract these type of clients. When we have a fear of love, we say, I don't have enough confidence in self myself to know that the love that I truly want is desiring me as much as I'm desiring it. When we deal with people or energies that give us just enough, what we're actually saying is, I don't have the confidence, I don't have the self-assurance or the self-love to know that I could get what I truly desire. So I'm just going to settle for these crumbs because the crumbs make me feel full enough because I've been deprived of what I've truly wanted. I remember I was so hungry one day that a piece of Kit Kat made me feel full. It was an illusion. A Kit Kat ain't making nobody feel full. But I realized, and I took that in life, where there's my moments I've starved myself from what I wanted so bad that the crumbs started to taste delicious. They started to fill me up in places where there were holes. I want to give you this. When we have these thoughts of, why am I not getting what I want, dating wise, financial, family, even with self, go back to the root of what's happening. Go back to, okay, well, where did it all stimulate from, right? If it started with family, acknowledge that, but now you have to pick up the baton of self-love and self-assurance and be like, I gotta move now. I have to go now, right? When I was thinking about dating, I was like, I would never download a dating app again. I plan to maintain that energy of I'm not doing it because this energy will be limited through a dating app. You're not gonna be able to experience this. You have to use the spirit of discernment. When you realize how big you are, when you realize who you are, when you realize what you are and whose you are, there are certain things you just can't do anymore. And I'm going to talk about my experiences with dating apps because there is something in that is so it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. People like me, people like you who are big and you can't be confined to a swipe. It ain't given. It ain't given. My brother had called me and he was basically just saying he wants us to get closer and he wants to call me more. And I'm like, I'm here. I ain't never not been here. But in that moment, I had to be honest to myself and realize when I was there for you, you did not make me feel seen, loved, or validated. You didn't make me feel like you really wanted me here, right? You did not do that. So when you call me with these random bursts of, okay, I need you to be here, be mindful who you talking to. See, let me tell you this. Some of y'all, and me too, are being manipulated even while we feel like we're figuring it out. Some people who know that they fucked us over are the same ones who still seek to get more from us after they caused the energy that we now display. I never understood how a person can poke a bear. The bear wakes up, bites your hand off, and then you want to shoot the bear dead. The bear was sleeping minding its own business. And that's how some of us are in our spiritual journey. We are dealing with the people the way we know best, the ones who hurt us, the ones who played with us, the ones who manipulated us, the ones who were narcissists, because they're family, right? So we can't get rid of them. So we're dealing with them the best way we know how while still being as spiritually grounded as we can. And they have the audacity to push up against us and say things like, but I still want more. And we have to be mindful enough in love, with love enough to say, I hear you, but I still got to protect me. And if you're not careful, the manipulation comes in where we fall back into that, okay, I'll jump for you. I'll be there for you. When in reality, we have to be like, I'm here, but I'm here with a new attitude. Because when I was there and I jumped at your every whim and I answered every phone call and I bent over backwards, you did not yield to the energy that I was giving. You didn't compliment that. So now I'm choosing, I'll wait. You call me when you're ready, and if I'm available, I'll answer the phone. If I feel like you really are ready to hear from me, then I will speak. See, a lot of people like when you just agree and accept and you don't push back and you don't really give your opinion, right? A lot of people call you because it's fun, right? They're used to it. But when they really, what you know to be true is when you calling me, just know who you calling. Sometimes you have to put a disclaimer. Do you know who you about to call? Because this energy is different. Y'all not ready. Listen, I just had to get that off. And if it resonates, let it resonate. If it hits, let it hit. but you got this. We got this, okay? And I'm about to open up the website so that y'all can call me and we can have those one-on-one sessions, because they were fueling to the spirit, okay? So listen, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right, all right? Peace.